What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the show. So you guys have been asking me about Iowa. What about Iowa? Do you think Iowa could flip for Democrats? So we're going to talk a little bit about that in this video. I'm going to show you a clip. Harry Enton's going to be talking about some of the polling coming out of Iowa. And then we're going to take a look at the Senate map to see the possibilities and why Iowa is so important. We just saw the president do a rally in Iowa. So the president knows that this is a must win for Republicans, but we are seeing a shift. And so we'll talk about that in this video. But first off, you guys can do me a favor. Please like the video. And if you're watching this video and you want to see more content like this, please consider subscribing to the channel. Okay, so I'm just going to remind you guys, I have an email. You can send me an email, david@thetecshow.com. And you can also post comments down below if you want me to take a look at different states. We're going to be putting out this election coverage until the election, until the midterm election. So feel free to comment down below with your questions or send me an email. Okay, so let's go ahead. First thing I want to do is take a look at Harry Enton. He's going to be talking about Iowa. Here we go.
Why? Because the economy and inflation ate Joe Biden's presidency alive, and now it is eating Donald Trump's presidency alive. I mean, just take a look here. Net approval rating on the economy. You go back to this point in the Joe Biden presidency, he was 19 points underwater. You go into Donald Trump's presidency, hey, he started off in the positive territory at plus 6 points. But down he goes, down the slide into the ocean he goes, negative 20 points. Donald Trump is actually in slightly worse position right now in the economy than Joe Biden was in this presidency. And of course, Joe Biden, as I said at the top, the economy ate his presidency alive. And right now it is eating Donald Trump's presidency alive.
A lot of the focus the last few days, understandably, has been on the immigration crackdown. Is that what Americans want to see?
No, this is the whole thing. You know, why is Donald Trump going into Iowa right now? And it is because of this. I mean, Trump administration is focusing too little on lowering prices. The vast majority, 3 in 4 Americans say he's focusing too little on lowering prices. That's why he's going into Iowa. What is he focusing too much on? He's focusing too much on deportations at 53%. The Americans want to focus on the economy and lowering prices. They don't want on deportations. And right now, they think it's flipperoo. And that's why Donald Trump, again, going into Iowa, trying to flip that script, a script that right now the American people do not like.
For full disclosure, I cheated and actually read ahead on this presentation. This next slide, I think, is the most interesting. What do we know about when presidents aren't doing well with the economy, how that affects the midterms?
I'm going to forgive John for skipping ahead here, but the audience will follow along with the lesson plan as it was supposed to be told. Take a look here. The president's party, the average midterm House seat loss. If the president's net approval rating on the economy is positive, which Donald Trump isn't, you keep your House seats lost to a minimal, right? You lose about 9 seats on average. If it is negative, the president is not liked on the economy. If his net approval rating on the economy is negative, as it is right now for Donald Trump, look at the average House seat loss. It's a 28-seat loss on average, which would wave adios amigos, goodbye, see you later, that a House majority, and it probably would put the Senate majority in danger as well. When a president is seen negative on the economy, his party suffers. Big league, to put it into President Trump's language, big league when it comes to the midterm election.
And that's just negative. That doesn't even account for negative 20 on the economy. All right, going to Iowa, there will be an open Senate seat there. What are the prediction markets saying about that seat?
Okay, so if you know anything about Iowa, recent politics in Iowa, right? The president won it by double digits. He's won it all 3 times. There has not been a Democratic senator that was a non-incumbent Democrat to win an Iowa Senate seat since 1984. The chance that the GOP wins in 2026. A year ago, to win that Senate seat, it was 81%. Now it's down to 66%. Look, that's still a majority chance, but in a state that Donald Trump won by double digits, that foreshadows big problems coming into the midterm election.
This trend may be going state by state right now, for sure. Yeah. Harry Enton, thank you very much.
And just that last part there, he's talking about 66%. So if you get down to 50%, then it's a 50-50. Okay, so 66% might look like a lot, but in the grand scheme of things, when we're looking at odds, once the closer you get to 50%, it's a toss-up at that point. And so in this point, I would say this is more, it's likely that a Republican will win. But if those numbers continue to drop, we could see it in a lean Republican, or we could even see it in that toss-up stage. I would say if it's around 55, 56, that's considered a toss-up. I mean, it's almost a 50-50. And then going back to the slide before that where he was talking about the 28 seats, that is, we could see that on average if the president is in the negative, okay, just in the negative, not negative 20, okay, just in the negative, we're looking at an average of 28 seats. If you're minus 20, then that would probably go up, right? So we could be looking at 40 seats or even 50 seats. Just last week, I did the AI model video and I was talking about this, and we're at about 41 seats now. And so when it comes to the House, Democrats have a huge advantage, and they will probably be able to take back the House. If everything pretty much stays the same when it comes to the economy, and if the president is not trying to bring down prices, and he's focused on these other issues that they don't want him to focus on, this is what we could see. But when we're talking about the Senate, and specifically when we're talking about Iowa, it's going to be a little bit harder, but it is not impossible. And so if you haven't been following the politics in Iowa right now, we have an open seat. We don't know who the Republican nominee is going to be or the Democratic nominee. We just know that Senator Ernst is retiring. She doesn't want to run for re-election. That right there should tell you something. She's a Republican. She's probably thinking, you know what? It's going to be very, very hard for me to defend Trump's record, and so I'm going to go ahead and retire. And so that changes things in Iowa because she's an incumbent. And so the reason why this matters, the reason why it matters is because right now you have some seats that Democrats have a real shot at winning. Okay, and I'm not talking about Iowa yet, but let's get to some of these other states. Right now, the makeup is Democrats, independents at 47, Republicans at 53. Republicans have the majority. Now, if we look at some of these states here, and let's put some toss-ups up here. So Alaska, I think, is a toss-up right now, just because Peltola is running. I think that she has a really good shot of winning. I think Georgia is a toss-up. Ossoff is an incumbent. He's a Democrat, but it's going to be a hard race for him. North Carolina is another state right now that I would consider a toss-up. Then you have Maine, I would consider a toss-up, and then Michigan. And so right now you have 5 states that are considered toss-ups, so they're going to be very close. A Democrat can win or a Republican can win. And so now we start looking at some of these other states. We look at a state like Ohio. We look at states like a state like Iowa. We look at Nebraska. You have an independent running there that's doing pretty well. He could win. We look at a state like Texas. And so some of these states, they could flip, okay? Now, there are no guarantees that they'd flip, but they could flip. And so if we are in a situation where, let's say, Democrats are able to really pull this off, and we're looking at, we just saw the polling that Harry Enton was talking about, and he even said when it comes to if we see a shift, like 28-seat shift in the House, that's probably some of that's going to trickle over into the Senate, and we could see some changes in the Senate. And so let's say we see that. Let's say that we see a 28-seat shift in the House, and then we also see in the Senate, we see Alaska go to the Democrats. Let's say Georgia, Ossoff's able to pull it off. Let's say Roy Cooper's able to pull it off in North Carolina. Let's say Mills or Plattner is able to pull it off in Maine. And let's say that open seat in Michigan goes to a Democrat. Now we're looking at a 50-50 Senate. Now, of course, 50-50 Senate, Republicans still carry the majority because of the vice president. Vice president comes in and breaks the tie. But now that's why you see these other states are very crucial. Iowa becomes very crucial because if Democrats can win just one other state here, then they will take control of the Senate. That's why you see the president out in Iowa rallying, trying to get people, get that support back up there, because there are some things going on in Iowa right now where you have people in Iowa upset with President Trump. Farming is one thing that they're very upset with. And so because of that, and just not focusing on bringing prices down is another thing that they're upset with. And that's all over the U.S. But he's going to these states, and don't be shocked if he's going to go to Ohio. He's going to go to some of these states that could flip, because he's trying to rally. He's trying to get out there and get people back on his side. And so that's the reason, because if we saw an Iowa flip, then we're looking at the 51 Democrats and 49 Republicans, and Democrats take control of the Senate. And that is the reason. That is the reason why he's there. Now, will it work? Well, that's yet to be seen. But I know one thing: if the economy is still the way that it is right now, if people still have that same feeling, if voters have the same feeling that things haven't changed or prices are even going up higher, then you can almost guarantee that we're going to see the House flip. And when it comes to the Senate, we're going to see some races that are very, very close. And if we see those close races, Democrats will have an opportunity to take back the Senate as well. So I want to know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more. And remember, stay informed, stay engaged, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye. So that's all we have for this video. Make sure if you guys want to send me an email, you can do that, david@thetecshow.com. Like the video, subscribe for more, and check out these videos over here for some more great content. Talk to you later. Bye.